The Titan exotic Precious Scars just got a buff with Season of the Wish, and it's basically the new and better version of Loreley. In fact, if you took Loreley and Phoenix Cradle and put them into one exotic, Precious Scars would probably still be better because you don't need to be running through a sunspot in order to get restoration. Getting kills with a weapon matching your subclass will grant 3 seconds of restoration, not just for you, but for any allies nearby as well. There is a cooldown to the exotic perk's effect, but its cooldown matches the timer of the restoration gained, if not just a second after. The restoration being for 3 seconds. So as long as the Titan of the fire team is consistently getting kills, the restoration for the entire team is practically endless. The one downside of it is that it does have a range fall off, and though there is no indicator, you can somewhat compare it to the range of Banner of War. For the players around the Precious Scars Titan, you don't need to be absolutely kissing him in order to get the effects, but you will need to be somewhat close by. And for all the people that see restoration and just immediately go for the solar based builds, I want to give you the disclaimer that the helmet will refresh the timer every time it is procced. So for the Warlock with some bracers and the infinite resto builds, Precious Scars will also restart your timer at 3 seconds every time it is procced as well. So getting back to the Titan, running things like Ember of Empyrean would be a wasted slot here, unless you're running it for Radiant of course. But this exotic comes with a unique ability to have restoration freely to be paired with something else, like Strand and using Woven Mail for damage resistance plus the restoration for the healing, making you actually unkillable. And with something like the aspect of Into the Fray, you can apply both Woven Mail and restoration for the entire team. Arc for its passive resistance with the fragment like Spark of Resistance, and pairing it with the add clearing of something like Trinity Ghoul or Void, where you can pair the subclass with Graviton Lance. And upon clearing the entire room with just one shot, you'll get restoration from it as well, though I'm sure you can manage without it at that point. Now I know I just listed off a bunch of subclass ideas that can be paired with Precious Scars, but in this video I will be going over a build that I find to be the most practical fit for the helmet, and it's actually with the Arc subclass. With the Solar, Void, and Strand subclasses, they all have their own applications of healing. And by using Precious Scars, it actually only hurts those builds for the reason that it will lock your exotic slot. With Soli Victus, you will have sunspots to grant restoration. With Banner of War, you just heal over time the more kills you get. And with Void, Devour is just too good to be true, and especially since it procs off kills. It gives no room for something like Precious Scars to shine, for it as well needs kills in order to proc, but at that point you would already be at full health with Devour. But on Arc, you have the ability to run a subclass that has great chaining abilities for add clear, great passive defense making you harder to kill, and mobility options that are better than the other subclasses. Sorry for the yapping, I know it took longer than normal for me to get to the point of this video, but we will be getting into the build now. So starting off with the subclass, the super I will be going with is just Thunder Crash of course. For the class ability, I went with Rally Barricade for the benefit of faster reloads while it's down. For the melee, it's completely optional, you can do what you want here. I just went with Thunderclap, but this part really doesn't matter at all. For the grenade, I went with Pulse Grenade, and that is mainly to go into the aspect of Touch of Thunder, saying that Pulse Grenades create ionic traces periodically as it damages targets and increases the damage over time. Those ionic traces will come in handy for the reason that we will want our abilities back, and Precious Scars doesn't give our abilities back. For my next aspect, I went with Knockout, only because why not? I know we have Juggernog, but it's really like if you want to run Juggernog, you go for it. I'm just going to go with Knockout. Now the main reason to run Arc is obviously for its fragments. I feel like its fragments are just better than its aspects, unlike other subclasses. So for our first one and most important one, it would be Spark of Resistance. While surrounded by combatants, you are more resistant to incoming damage. That paired with the healing that Precious Scars gives you, you're practically just unkillable right there. So if you're running a Forbearance, running an Arc Shotgun, running an Arc Fusion, you're just in there shooting Trinity Ghoul at the ground. You're going to get heals. You're going to have Spark Resistance on. You're going to be unkillable. Next would be Spark of Ions. By defeating a jolted target, you will create an Ionic Trace. We want to create as many Ionic Traces as we can to get our abilities back. Precious Scars doesn't do that for us. So we need to get into the build craft aspect to give us our abilities back. So to make our grenade jolt people so we can get the Ionic Traces for that, it will be with Spark of Shock. Your arc grenade jolts targets. And then to wrap it all up, of course, we will go with Spark of Magnitude. So the linger effect to our pulse grenade will last longer. So when you slap it onto a boss, more ionic traces will be coming up to you. And now that we went over the subclass, it's time to get into the mods. Now I will remain here just for a little bit if you want to play match game, but some of these mods here are swappable, and I will get into that while we go over the mods. But if you just want to copy it, here you go right here, because we're going to get into it right now. So starting off with the headpiece, of course, since this is a team playing exotic, you want to run stuff like heavy finders and scouts. So not only are you healing, you're supplying them with ammo as well. And then of course, since the exotic perk requires you to get kills matching your subclass with your weapon, Harmonic Siphon is just the no-brainer here. Moving on down to our arms piece, I just want my grenade back as fast as possible. So I'm doing impact induction, causing damage with your powered melee. Grants you grenade cooldown, and grenade kickstart. It's just a no-brainer. Gaining armor charges and then throwing your grenade will just kickstart your grenade for you, getting a head start in the cooldown. The chest piece, obviously just going to be standard defense mods. That's just what I normally go with. Match it with whatever activity you are doing. That's all I can really say there. Moving on down to the legs piece. So the legs, they have too many goated options. So if you're in the most lowest form, brain dead, easy content, you could just go 3 innervasions and just have your grenade back the second you pick up an orb. If you're in like a Grandmaster Nightfall, I should say, you could slap on a scavenger because you're in it for the long haul for like 30 minutes and it's harder content. You might need your heavy. And obviously, if you're in like a boss phase, you'll just go with surges. Is what it is. Pick and choose your battles with the legs. It's just unfortunate that you share too many goated mods with the legs. So it's one or the others, right? Moving on down to the class piece, these 2 mods just never leave any of my character's class item. It's Special Finisher and Powerful Attraction. That's just what I go with. This mod with Bomber, if you're not in a boss encounter and you need DPS with surges, Bomber just helps you get your grenade back faster. If you are in boss phases, need DPS, you're using surges on your legs, obviously just swap it out for a time dilation. But for right now, that's not what I'm doing. And now that we have the build all put together, let's go over some of the most important parts of running this exotic. What weapon will you be using for it? Since we are going with the Arc subclass, we got a lot of goated options. We do have the brand new Song of Your Ute, the Arc LMG from Crota's End that can roll with sword logic to making Ad Clear a breeze. But if you wanted to free up your heavy slot for, let's say, a damage phase, you can always double back on the trifecta of either Forbearance for that brain dead ad clearing ability it has, the Aikilos SMG for some volt shot action, though there is a new released 900 rounds per minute SMG that also has volt shot on it called Subjunctive. Hopefully I'm saying that right. I'm going off of memory for that weapon. So maybe get your hands on that and give it a go. And if you're still one of those madmen running around with the double special in this economy, Path of Least Resistance Trace Rifle comes stacked with Volt Shot as well, but I can't honestly recommend double special since the nerf. Unless the double special is two hard-hitting weapons like a fusion rifle and Forbearance. To dip into some exotics, we do have Trinity Ghoul and Risk Runner for some mass add deletion with some rapid arc chaining kills. Now, this is an exotic that I wouldn't claim is busted by any means, but it's definitely nice to have on a team of 6. Imagine your day 1 Crota's End, either bridge encounter or the opening encounter with this on your team. As a Warlock or Hunter, I'll tell you that I'd be 100% okay with having a Precious Scars Titan on my team. It's not like it's taken up my exotic slot, but if you have enjoyed this video, a like would be very much appreciated. And if you want to stick around for more videos like this, hit that subscribe for me too. I'll see you guys in the next one. Now please take care.